Welcome to a late IHP show with your 5D mystic stories here, my stories. And if you're new, future human, that's what we are here at 5D land, or at least at IHP land, because people who are themselves, they're motivated by love and they're committed to life and their true connections. So they don't have the fear stuff or the shame stuff, the unhealthy. Obviously, there are people who use fear healthily and shame healthily, but we're just going to be like, nah, we don't do any of those who are insecurely attached because they're afraid to love. So they don't choose to love life, and they don't choose to love themselves, and they don't choose to commit. So they don't have the capacity to truly be a connection because their heart is protecting itself, and then they get all upset and they don't want to notice their adaptive child part. But we do know how to forgive. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, as you heard from yesterday's late IHP show, I get to be in communion with a beautiful Trinity and beyond. So when we meet that which is not a Lucifer monster, we know that they don't know how to wield their nervous system, so they don't know how to wield their personality patterns, and they are not stronger than their dysfunctional patterns. They're also not stronger than their adaptive child parts, so they get very much, selfish in a way that Stephen Porges points out. Biologically rude people can't care about other people's mental, emotional, or physical needs. They're biologically rude. So we understand that emotionally immature people, like Patrick Tan points out, don't want to do the work, but they want the love. I'm going to tell you some teenage stories. So true connections happen for those of us who are securely attached and untraumatized because we love to love, live, laugh, learn, expand, and not cast stones. And we don't say we love you just because. We actually mean it. We mean it. We will promise it because, first of all, I promised it to myself. Till death do me part, sickness and in health, for better, for worse. That's how it works when you are your own piece of Purusha Prakriti, pure consciousness, pure energy, and your own piece of, you heard it, Shiva and Shakti. I don't remember the exact order. So your own self, you are the one, and you are your own heart. I remember when I got Twin Flame 1, 2, and 3, there was a theme, and I moved from the one to the ones to the ones to no ones to soulmates to, oh wow, attachment trauma educated. Okay, so yes, a lovely, lovely, lovely time for me to bring to you forth that which is the heart and mind of God as a prophet, a guru, a spiritual master, an enlightened one, and a mystic. I honor my communion with God, and I honor all words. And they're all beautiful, and they're all fun, and I play with them. And anybody who is disrespectful, no, please go away. We're children. We don't want to play with the grumpy Gargamel, okay? So when you are intellectually intelligent, you are also emotionally intelligent, which is why I had good Christian Catholic catechists who taught me what Jesus, God, and Holy Spirit is. When I got told, this is what you're promising, this is why you're going to do it, every bit of explanation, I don't make promises that I don't keep, Maria. So this is why we're going to have some teenage stories of Maria. As a teenage boyfriend, he and I had a very big, it was a big, the only argument that I've ever had in my life that was actually where I'm like, you don't believe this and I can't make you, but you are supposed to understand you don't have faith, not the other way around. And so that's called, by the way, people who live effective realism, like this dude who thinks that he knows that the world should be a world where it's about what is right, not what feels right, while he's all feels as he's even speaking it. So people who don't achieve enlightenment, they think it's not possible and that it's a trap. That's because they didn't learn to wield their own nervous system. You can't make them go get their helpless habitual default mode network brain to a therapist so they can become grown-ups. So when I meet Cusco, I don't do anything because I'm Pacham. But I will know that if I got sent by God out to the desert to grab a hold of them, basically they cross my paths, I'm going to do something. Otherwise, I'd be a coward, a hypocrite, and I'm not. I'm a luminous warrior like anybody else who's in our 5D collective, who is a common sense, somatic empath human being, if they don't think of themselves as spiritual or mystic. So you love yourself first. Death do you part, sickness and in health, richer, poorer, better, worse. We don't need Archangel Michael to cut cords because healthy self-worth people are not attractive to those who are in push-pull shame dynamics, to those who are not stronger than their dysfunctional patterns, so they want to drink and do drugs and then do the inner outer critic, and they want to continue to play Cusco. Okay, so these are people who have basically decided to continue with the shame bind. It doesn't look good as they get older. So here's how I'm going to encourage, comfort, challenge, and strengthen you. The mind and heart of God is discerning, equanimous, and loving. The only thing he chimes in to remind me of, don't judge your brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of your fucking time. Then we have, lovely, hold on a minute, we got Buddha. As he smiles with me and I smile with him, and he laughs and I laugh, and I'm like, Buddha, this life, this very existence, it ain't suffering. They can use their crocodile spirit. You can use wise, patient, and silent powerhouse, the body connected, people. That's how you're going to become a lover and a 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful. So it's an integrated brain. So all angels walk amongst us. Those who have fallen, they can get up because they can be their whole self if they choose to become that which is their own sense of self and their own open heart. Okay, so it's not a chit chat. It doesn't matter what words you say to yourself. It's a body experience. Once people are themselves, now they're motivated by love, not by pain. They're not going to be motivated by any of the unhealthy self-soothing business, the unhealthy triggers. You're going to know a window welcome to your emotional plane and mental plane. And that's when you'll know not only how to be seen, so you don't play shadow, you don't play that which is basically, it's not a siren that takes from you. It's like Cusco. He backstabs Pacha. He lies. He's at a dead end. And even at the end of the movie, he's at a dead end because he still lies. So when someone is in shame, you don't tell them so because you don't talk sense to somebody who doesn't want to heal that which is their own childhood trauma. You don't. It's not nice. And also people who have knowledge of the trauma charges, I do, like how it feels, because I have trauma charges too. I'm just non-traumatized because I have a window welcome to the emotional stuff. But it was only with fear because panic attacks and a bunch of stuff. So it was this very specific moment. I've told you the story before, but I was able to not only know the wisdom, abstract knowledge about self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart, being in the midline, thanks to Bethany Brand and Ruth Lanius. I also was able to understanding, analyze it and process it because I have a body and I have interoception. And then when I got that little bit of pokety poke through my heart, that's where I internalized it, made it my own, and I said, oh, this is integrated knowledge. Okay, so that's the moment of where I was like, okay, I can only imagine if I had a bunch of trauma charges due to a complete shitty beginning to my life. I am blessed. Thank you, God. So I'm an Akashic record reader also, and they informed us. Some start at the very beginning of the book and some at the end. Also, there's, again, soul age groups. So spiritual masters, gurus, prophets, expert yogis, those who are enlightened ones, they bring all spirituality together. Those who are maintaining our ancient ancestors' stories in basically stagnating energy, they're divisive. It's okay. They like to use words their way. They think of every one of us as either disrespectful, dishonorable, stupid, how dare you, evil. They keep using Lucifer, monsters. They basically have nothing better to do than to create it's the same lame ass shit that I heard when I was a kid. So again, I don't have something to say about mediocre people except for they're very uninteresting. They don't know how to commit to love or life because they're not committed to being true to themselves. Okay, so when you allow yourself to make excuse after excuse after excuse for that which is maladaptive patterns of behavior, it's not smart. And that's why the teenage boyfriend and the story is that as we're arguing about me believing in God in my bones, and he's like, no, and his effective realism, I'm like, you don't have faith. And guess why? An adaptive child part will argue with you. Not because they care about you like my facade friend. No, they're already talking over you. So when you meet people who don't know how to commit to themselves, to be their true self, to do love and life, and then to respect differences with humility is called. So they actually completely welcome all of you. That's what it means. True love is you welcome all of me, which means you respect every single bit of it. A person who is an immature human being can't physically do that because they have shadow parts that they throw at you every now and then. It's called self-righteous contempt baton that they're carrying from their own household. So in the meantime, those who are empowered feminines, we don't waste time with mediocre behavior. That's exactly why I have fun with it. I don't even hear it. And whenever I'm hearing any of it, I really don't care to point it out because the next moment is, like Cusco, whammy. Oh, it's hilarious. So they twist it on you. Oh, and I don't use all those other words to say something because it's really, again, a pathology isn't fascinating for people to carry on with. People who irritate us, it's simply because we expect them to be like us. No, they're not like me. Thank you, Sadhguru. That's exactly why hypocrites, liars, betrayers, they're not monsters. They're all cowards. For a person who's in the 5D Christ consciousness brain, it's an integrated brain, and who honors Jesus because he did say, forgive, they don't know, and Stephen Porges confirms. So biologically rude people don't know what they're saying, which is also why, besides the fact that I don't want to get into it with an idiot, I also really don't want to get into it with somebody who's supporting their dysfunctional patterns in a way that is pretty obvious that you're not smart. You're also not in any way, shape, or form the most amazing human being all the time because you don't know how to manage your moods or yourself because you're still a 0-8-year-old version who has a 16-year-old asshole version. And in the meantime, while I did know that I was being just as assholishness and a pain in the ass as anybody else, difference is I was like, that's not integrity, that's not morality, that's not. But you gave me answers to why you all lied to me, so I get it. You're all afraid of an empowered human being. I guess I'm gonna walk a walk and talk a talk. That's how it works when you get to be yourself and you don't let people who are cowards actually think, what? That I made wrong? Excuse me? You let him get away. Who, my dog? He wasn't my dog. I didn't have a dog. I don't want a dog. I like cats, but I don't even want a cat right now because really I'm just still thinking of a lot of things out there in the world. I'm committed to life and love, and I'm committed to definitely making sure that I can stay as mobile as possible to bring Maria to wherever it is that I want to bring her. But my point is that life is short, and people who don't know how to walk it and talk it are clear to those of us who do, because it is very beautiful to be gifted life, which is why, as Michael Jordan points out, some people want it to happen, some people wish it would happen, others make it happen. So the teenage boyfriend, to me, it was normal as teenagers to be mature. As I got older, I didn't know what was happening. No, I didn't give a shit. I just learned people don't know how to tell you the truth in your face. And so when I get crapped on for being polyamory, like, I know what faithfulness means. I know what love means, and I know what it means to actually be able to turn another cheek and to allow myself to recognize that which is called an adaptive child behavior that is very unnecessary. I also know I will not be using any of my breath to address it. Functional child adults, we're not parents of anyone, and also God likes to remind all of us how to use our time, and so does Akash Source. So the part of us interacting, it's that we get choice points together. So if you lack self-awareness, accountability, and regulation, and you lack noticing how you're talking to another person about their own faith and belief systems and their experience as a mystic and a spiritual one, I never felt alone. I always have known different isn't better or worse. Different is different. And if I have an experience like even the panic attacks and you don't, well, you won't understand it. I know how to accept that if I don't understand and you get all upset at me, that I understand that you're getting upset because I don't understand, and I'll say, I'm sorry, I don't understand, you're right, but I know what happens when it's the other way around, which is why, again, it's more of I really don't care to address a tone due to the fact that those who use it are the ones who lack compassion, they lack self-awareness, they lack the common courtesy of remembering they don't know everything, which is the moment you have an adaptive child who doesn't give a shit about whatever's coming out of your mouth or whatever you are. And it's because they're not open-hearted. So when you have a teenager in a room who's a grown-up and who's using the shame-binding shit and they just talk to you like they know everything, and again, buffoons, they're brilliant, so brilliant. So this lovely teenage boyfriend, he didn't give it up. The only reason he didn't believe in faith in God is because he got a friend of his killed himself. He got cheated on by his girlfriend, which, you know, lo and behold, then he does it to somebody else. But at the end of the day, the people that don't know how it works to take ownership of life, they think that I allowed things to happen by not being jealous. And I said, I don't allow things to happen. I'm not a babysitter, and I'm not a let me teach you how to be a human being. You're going to be who you're going to be. I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and I know how to respect myself. And trust, you don't lose trust with people because, again, cowards, you didn't do anything that hurt me. You would have to physically stab me to hurt me. And my heart can be crying, it will be fine. That's why it's really fun to be mentally, emotionally intelligent and let you know spiritual personal growth. It's beautiful. There's nothing that can actually come near your mind or heart because, again, it's you choosing to be yourself. And that's for those of you who don't get it, owning sense of self is this. So you don't change for people. You have all your child parts and you know that life's too short to spend it with an insecure person, and it's too short to spend breath on any of them because they all do exactly how Stephen Porges points out, make up an excuse, not only for the dysregulated patterns, for what they just spoke out of their mouth, for their entire behavior and mannerism, because it's a self-righteous contempt, which was the only power they had as children. So they're doing unto others that which was done unto them. And in the absence of their caring, they're also belittling something that they know nothing about, like faith. So in the meantime, while I'll accept criticism from those who have faith, because I understand the divisiveness and where it comes from, when I have people who are atheists and who are scientists and who don't know any of it, they're not in communion with our world, I just leave it alone, because an arrogant person is still an insecure human being who doesn't know how to have good manners. I'm not going to teach them manners. They're not my child. And even if they were, I would still be, I would be a child, and it would not be talked about that way. It would be talked about very differently, because that's exactly how you walk a walk and talk a talk. So really, children learn by behavior. And when you're equanimous, discerning, and loving like God is, and then you choose to walk in the footsteps of someone like Jesus, it's not him, you forgive, you turn the other cheek, you know how to be a human being who's called a somatic empath, you're not going to ever be ashamed of yourself. And you're not going to be ashamed of the people who have a broken foundation, because you understand what that means. And so I won't ever want to shame a human being who has unhealthy self-worth, dysregulated patterns, because I know that something went down. But you better bet I won't pat you on the back either. So I won't be like the guy who's like, let me be your friend. No, you're not my friend. Strangers in the night. So Hesketh Pearson, a man's character never changes radically from youth to old age. What happens is that circumstances bring out characteristics which have not been obvious to the superficial observer. When people actually criticize this teenage boyfriend and the partner, I say, you leave the partner alone. They did good. They knew what they wanted. They got what they wanted. The person who decided that they didn't really want anything outside of one individual was that human being. So at the end of the day, if you don't want to commit to your life because you're not committed to love, because you don't know how to be motivated by it, because you're motivated by pain and suffering, you're not going to be a true connection who is yourself. You're just going to be like one of those people who is bad resilience, thinking they're badass. In the meantime, your body suffers. And as my facade friend, you're going to stagnate, because the shame bind, the dark sides of neuroplasticity, it begins to sound like a donkey. They begin to just think they know it all. That's why when you see those groups from all afar, I mean, they have a very specific way that they go about their business. But again, there's room for all, but 3D, 4D, they're comfortable with the pseudo-liveness. They're comfortable with Pinocchio's Island. So they like push-pull shame dynamics. They do the wanting to punish each other. They have the unhealthy fear, the unhealthy shame, all of it, and they disregard the explanations of the neuroscience neurobiologist in a way of making it they're okay, what am I? Am I body and ventral vagal state or not? Okay, if I'm not, then I know what I need to do. I have yet to see in my 5 growing probably years of attachment trauma education people do any of this. I have seen instead replicable, repeatable adaptive child part choosing everything but going to therapy. I began to see the ones who are going to good therapists. And that's also, though, because we have more of the good ones. So luckily we have that going on. So true connections, again, it's amazing when you build them. And when we have our 3D, 4D, they're true connections too. I'm friends with all of my teenager people. And when they still make fun of me for not doing drugs, I just think nothing except for... Oh, so hilarious. So in the meantime, yeah, no, it's not hilarious. It's just allowing people to be whatever they want because we have laws. So we go vote, and also, again, God and Akash and Source. We're not here to interfere in people's lives, but above all, emotionally, mentally, physically healthy people know, like Bessel van der Kolk told us, you don't convince anyone, but also it's none of my business if you want to live your life the way you want to. It's called free will. This is the spirituality, mystic, God, the free will stuff that some sciences say you don't have. We say you do because you got a choice point when you're encountering somebody else and when you're looking out there. But yeah, the movies and the songs and the TV and all the games, they make it definitely hard. So do this. No, the cities. There's a lot of that which makes it hard. Having parents who are still selling their children and their children are 3 years of age. Having people who need help, having people who refuse to get people to help and say lack of imagination for evil versus, oh, look, we have our neuroscientists, neurobiologists. They're able to prove how the body works and the embodied brain, and they're really doing a great job. Let's make sure every single traumatized human being goes to therapy. That's exactly how it works. The scientists, they figured it out, the kingdom of God within everyone. But do you really think that that's how it's going to work? Do you remember how many humans are we? 8 billion and growing. So we all have free will. If you're in communion with God and Akash and Source, you know there's no black magic at all. None of it. Cosmic, karmic balancing. You don't ever lose anything if you're doing Dharma. And you will always know what the choice point is that you're being gifted. Because in my case, it was very easy. Again, God doesn't make mistakes. All of his children, they're all little angels. Where's my lovely Jesus? I lost my Jesus. I want to honor Jesus. But I think that, here he is. So when you have this and then you meet a buffoon, you're not going to shame the buffoon. You're going to give the hug if the buffoon wants it, and you're going to leave it alone as somebody who understands what science explains and how repeatable it is. So if you can't love yourself first, you don't love anybody else at all. But those of us who do love unconditionally, like me with my facade friend, we're not going to back out on the word love or the word friend, or like the exes, the people who say, oh, you're still friends with all of them? I don't want to be friends with any of them. Yes. You want to fuck them? No, I don't actually. But that's interesting. So when you meet the not securely attached people, they don't know how life works. The 0-1-year-old, excuse me. Love is not about somebody. Love is not an act. Love is what you are. It's the way you are. And when you are securely attached from your 0-1-year-old, only those who have lost the need for security are truly secure. We're truly secure. And as securely attached, non-traumatized people, we get to be our true selves. And that's why being yourself, it's the best advice with the embodied brain information, of course, which is why I keep on making sure to let you understand this. Because even for me, I didn't know about owning the sense of self until I got all attachment trauma educated. And when I did, I was like, okay, that explains so much about all of my oversoul. I'm so happy they all can heal if they want. Great. Hey, God. So now that I know that I don't have to lift a finger, what do you think? He's still telling me not to judge my brothers and sisters of human suffering. A waste of my fucking time. And Buddha's laughing and Jesus high five, Archangel Michael, come on in. We don't need to cut the cords, don't worry, they're all cool. They can't actually touch us. Yeah, I have had people in my energy sphere. We'll save that for another time. It was hilarious, unlike what I've seen others when they tell you I'm in my sphere. Yeah, I'm like, okay, get the fuck out of my sphere. Are you done being, you're all like morons right now. Okay. Oh, so many themes, so many years I've been ascending, and I've been a light body, a rainbow body, you name it. When I got bigger, I was like, okay, I need more. And I got to meet Sadhguru, not in person, but I was like, okay, good. And I believe the more was Uranus for some reason. I need to keep looking into those lovely, there's a bunch of them that want to come through, so I'm going to have to sit down with myself. But in the meantime, thanks for stopping by. And when people don't believe in your communion with God and mysticism and any of that, the ones of us who are empowered, we don't feel alone. Again, we leave it alone because the lack of capacity for them to understand what they just did is very clear that they really don't want to get to know that aspect. And they also don't understand what it means to have faith, like my teenage boyfriend. So I don't expect people who don't have it's in my bones, who don't have that communion to understand it. It's like the panic attacks. It's like with shame. I don't know shame. I can't one day know what it's like to have a broken foundation. There's no inch of me that I would say bad Maria. I would say imperfect, yes. Flawed, yes. Not bad. And I would say good. Good. I could say that too. But I'm saying as a self-accepting human being, I can know that some can see you as good and some can see as bad. I won't call myself good or bad. I can do good things. I can do bad things. I can do something. This is where a society has rules. I follow them. I am a person who is following the rules of society. So anyone who wants to chime in certain ways, they're always going to be only of one type of person, which is why the more you can just smile and wave, boys, the more there's just nothing that they're actually engaging with, because really they're also not there for you. That's the part. If they healed all that shadow stuff, they'd be having a way better time. So we'll be back with more. Have a good one.